Okay, so the episode starts off with Yennefer teleporting to Aretuza and meeting Istredd. And Istredd explains to Yennefer that she portaled there. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, no, she didn't. Because there's an actual key element required to portal somewhere. Can you guess what it is, boys and girls? It's an actual portal. You have to create a portal to portal somewhere. Now, the reason I bring this up is because the show is so inept and so laughable that it doesn't even realize that you need a portal to portal somewhere. Like, how do you screw this up? It's the beginning of the show. And you can't even, the show doesn't even realize that you need a portal to portal somewhere. Then, we now have it that Yennefer, she now understands that she can do this. She can teleport. Okay? And she now understands that she has this magical capability. So why doesn't she ever do it? Like, when Tassia ends up going to her father, well, not really her father, to buy her, Yennefer doesn't want to go. So portal out. Like, you can do it. Did you not, like, when Istredd portaled you back to your home, did you not practice what you had? Did you not kind of experiment? Did you just kind of go, wow, that was an interesting experience. Back to feeding the pigs? Like, why wouldn't Yennefer, having learned that she has this ability, practice, test, use it? Nah, because then how else is she gonna get taken by Tassia? Then she gets taken to the school. She doesn't want to be there. She wants to go home. Portal! Escape! No! Her option is to commit suicide as opposed to creating a portal and escape. This is laughable. This is a joke, right? Like this. Then we get to Ciri in the forest. This scene blew me away because you hear and see people, soldiers, horsemen, yelling, "Princess Cirilla! Princess Cirilla!" Now, when I first saw this scene, I'm going, okay, those have to be Cintran soldiers looking for the princess. Because there's no way this show could be so goddamn stupid to have the Nilfgaard soldiers who are trying to find Princess Ciri would be going around yelling, "Princess Cirilla, Princess..." Like, there's no way they could be that stupid. So I'm going, why is Ciri running away from the voices of the Cintran soldiers trying to find her? And then it's like, no. It's actually the Nilfgaard soldiers trying to find Princess Ciri by yelling out their presence. Like, what was the plan? That Princess Ciri was gonna go, like they were gonna go, "Princess Cirilla," and Princess Ciri was gonna go, "Here I am, you can come capture me now." What? Like, there's no way. There's no way you can possibly take this show seriously after that scene alone. The fact that the Nilfgaard soldiers, their plan to try and find Princess Ciri is to yell out their presence and expect her to respond? This is mind-blowing. Then Siri wants to disguise herself, wearing the same royal clothing that was, identified. So what's Siri's plan to disguise herself? Put mud in her hair to change her hair color. That's not how it works. You can't put mud in your hair and that suddenly changes your hair color. Like, why wouldn't she put the mud on her skin to change her skin's hair, her skin's color? Like, what is going on in this show? Seriously. Then we get to meet the Bard. Now, here's why I love this episode. Geralt is sitting in a tavern by himself, and no one in the tavern cares. No one in the tavern even knows he's a witcher. But then how is it that in Blaviken he's hooded and covered, but everybody instantly knew he was a witcher and there was a problem? But he goes to Poseida and nobody recognizes him? Do you understand how bullshit and ridiculous that scene in Blaviken was in the tavern? This episode shows that there was no way the people in the tavern in Blaviken should have even known that Geralt was a witcher. Not only that, the Bard, when talking to Geralt, actually has to piece it together. The people in Blaviken instantly knew, yet the Bard had to piece it together? Then actually has to inform the people in the tavern, by the way, there's a witcher here. Like I said, in episode 1, how did the people in the tavern in Blaviken know that was a witcher, when in another tavern, you literally have to point him out for them to know there's a witcher here? Then one of the guys in the tavern goes up to Geralt to I have a job for you. There's a devil stealing our grain. Okay, first of all, it's not just this one guy that the devil has been stealing grain from. The Sylvan. I'm just going to call him the Sylvan. The Sylvan has been stealing grain from everyone. Here's an idea. Post a flyer seeking a witcher. Do you have a swamp nearby that you could post it so that Geralt could find it? Why would they think they have a devil stealing their grain? Post a seeking witcher flyer. And then he goes to Geralt and negotiates price. And Geralt goes 150 ducats. And the guy pulls out a pouch with 150. Was this guy sitting in the bar just waiting for a witcher to hopefully eventually show up, and that someone would point out to him that, oh, by the way, that's a witcher? We're now back at Aretuza, and Tassia is explaining how magic works. I love this because she explains that magic is organizing chaos, and there's two things. There's oceans of magic. There's oceans about magic they don't know. Okay, this is key later on. There's oceans of things about magic they don't know, but there's two things they do know. Okay, it requires control and balance. Well, it also requires three things, incantations, but apparently incantations are optional, I guess, because they don't always use, incantations. And the aspect of balance is that you cannot create something out of nothing. Magic requires a price. And this is established when they have the rock and the flower. Now this is great. That's fine. Except here's the problem. There's never an instance of give and take when magic is used ever again. Like, there's no take, there's no balance. When they tried to bottle the lightning, okay? No incantation, no take. When, in episode 1, when Mousak creates the invisible barrier, what's the take? There is none. Every instance of magic ever shown, ever again, every time Yennefer creates a portal, what's the take? There is none. This is why I love this show. This show creates the rules of magic and then says, screw them. Why would we want to follow the very rules of magic we created? This is brilliant. This show is laughable. This is a joke. I could go on, but I'm going to try and keep this under half an hour. So now we're back to Ciri, and she's in a refugee camp. Now I could spend about 20 minutes explaining how goddamn stupid and ridiculous, and how this refugee camp makes no sense. Where is this? Who are these refugees? Where did they come from? Who is supplying them? It can't be Sintra. They're gone. If these are Cintran citizens, why are they in a refugee camp and they haven't gone to the city? Why haven't they gone to the city of Sintra? Why are they in the middle of this forest? Anyway, I want to try and keep this around half an hour because the first video was like an hour and that was way too long. So Ciri enters the camp, okay? Gets pushed out of the food line and meets the guy with the necklace of elfin ears, right? Now, I love this scene. So, there's a lineup of people in the food line, okay? Now, the guy with the elf ears cuts by them, and right beside. Okay, so here's the line of people in the food line. Right beside them, okay, the guy with the elf ears necklace, right, goes to a pot of food. There's a pot of stew, but there's nobody guarding it. The pot of stew is literally right beside the food line, but only he gets to use. Why aren't the people in the food line grabbing a bowl, going to that open pot of food and just grabbing food? It's not like there's guards blocking it that nobody. It's in the open. What? The guy with the elf ear necklace was the only person who noticed it and realized I can do this? Explain to me why I should in any way, shape, or form take this show seriously. I dare any of you fanboys of this show to explain it to me. Then he brings Ciri to the family tent. Now again, this is a refugee camp. How does this family have a larger tent than everybody else? They have no more money. They've been uprooted from their town, their lives. How do they get this larger tent than everybody else? Why wouldn't everybody else be going, screw you, we're taking this stuff? It's not like they have guards guarding their tent. They have no money. And to help prove it, the son goes, when I get more money, I'll become a knight. Establishing they don't even have the money for him to even be a knight. They have no wealth. How do they have this large-ass tent? how do they have a servant? Like that little dwarf, the dwarf character. Okay, is he a servant? Because if he's a servant, why is he working for them? They can't pay him. If he's a slave, why doesn't he leave? Who's going to? Why is this person who hates the mother? Okay, because later at the end of the episode has no problem killing her. He has no loyalty to this family. Why is he working for them? Why doesn't he just leave? Like, what's keeping him there? Other than the fact that the story needs him to? Then we're back to Geralt going after the devil, which is the Sylvan. Right? Now, the Sylvan, okay, with the farmers and the commoners, hides and runs to steal food. Never actually confronts them. Okay? Yet, again, probably doesn't know that Geralt's a Witcher. Yet sees a guy, fully armed warrior, and goes, this guy I'm going to try and fight. I'm not going to fight commoners. I'm going to run and hide from them. Why wouldn't the Sylvan see Geralt, a fully armed warrior, and go, crap, let me get the hell out of here so he doesn't come after me? No, that's the person the Sylvan decides to take on. Not only that, what was the Sylvan doing there in the first place? Like, what? Why was the Sylvan just kind of wandering around? What? So that Geralt could find him? It's like, if the show had it that the Sylvan was stealing food and Geralt was tracking him, and that's how he was able to, capture the Sylvan, that would have worked. But apparently, that level of storytelling is beyond the capabilities of the writers of this show. They couldn't think. The best they could come up with was, let's just have the Sylvan be in a spot in the lower area so that Geralt could just walk. This is a joke. Then, to make matters worse, Geralt gets ambushed by the elves and is taken down. Here's where the show establishes, once again, it has no goddamn clue what it's doing. Because the show establishes the elves from the very beginning wanted to kill Geralt. Their plan from the get-go was to kill Geralt. Okay? That's established. Even Filavandrel ends up establishing that he wanted them dead anyway. Okay? Except here's the thing. The show needed to have Geralt meet Filavandrel so that you could have that exposition about how the elves are victims and how evil humans are. Right? Except, at the same time, needed to establish that the elves wanted to kill Geralt. So they have it that the elves ambush and knock out Geralt. They now have Geralt dead to rights. They want to kill him. But they can't kill him, because that would screw up the show. So now the writers are going, well, what do? We're having it that the elves want to kill Geralt. We have it that the elves can now kill Geralt without a problem, but we can't kill Geralt. What do? We'll have the elves bring Geralt to Filavandrel. Why? Because otherwise we'll end up having the elves kill Geralt. Like, the elves bring Geralt to Filavandrel for no other reason than they can't kill. The show establishes that the elves want to kill Geralt. They have Geralt dead to rights, but then can't kill Geralt, so they just bring up the Philip. So now we have Geralt talking to Filavandrel and the elves. and I don't even know how to properly convey the situation. Phil Evangel wants to establish how hopeless and lost and destitute the elves are. And he goes, they would have starved if it wasn't for Torque the Sylvan stealing food for them. So let me see if I get this straight. If the Sylvan hadn't come along and felt sorry for the elves would have stayed in the cave and starved to death? That's what that line means, boys and girls. Phil Evangel just admitted if the Sylvan didn't steal food for them, they had no idea how to get food for themselves and would have starved. Here's an idea. Do you know how to hunt? Is like before you were kicked out of your land, right? How did you get food? Did you by chance hunt for it? I honestly do not know how to properly convey how goddamn laughable this is. And if that wasn't enough, Geralt tells Phil Evangel, leave. Go somewhere else and rebuild. Are you telling me it never occurred to the elves to go somewhere else? I understand they want to fight for their homeland. I get that. But they're getting their asses kicked. They've lost. It's over. Phil Evangel is concerned about he doesn't want to bury any more elves. Okay? So the uprising is a lost cause. Fighting for the land that was once theirs is a lost cause. Because he doesn't want to bury any more elves. An absolutely noble sentiment and one I agree with. How does he plan on doing that? By staying and having his Sylvan steal food for them. Go somewhere else and rebuild, you moron. The fact that Geralt has to establish this plan of action is mind-blowing. It's hilarious. Okay. Now we have Phil Evangel explaining magic. This was glorious. This was my favorite part of the movie. I thought the Nilfgaard soldiers yelling Princess Cirilla was goddamn stupid. I thought the whole show not even being able to keep magic straight was bad. This was beautiful. This was beautiful. Okay. According to Phil Evangel, okay, the humans were somehow able to synthetically enhance magic. Try to understand the level of absolute bullshit that line is and what is required to take that line serious. What does that even mean? What does it mean to synthetically enhance chaos? The show doesn't know because the show just shot out that line without any absolute comprehension of what that even means. Okay, here's the thing. According to Tassia, there are oceans of things about magic that they don't know. Oceans! But somehow figured out how to synthetically enhance chaos. They figured out that magic requires control and balance, requires, incantation sometimes. Oh, and by the way, we also figured out how to synthetically enhance chaos. Please tell me how I'm supposed to take this show. This show is a joke. this show is. If you can get past, if there's no way you can get past this human synthetically enhanced chaos. This is such bullshit. I love this show. I loved it. This show is pure, absolute laughter. This is along the lines of The Room in levels of absolute stupid. First of all, let's say, because again, I'm going to harp on this absolute bullshit, sorry. Let's say they go along the lines of that they were able to synthetically enhance chaos. How do you figure that out in the first place? How do you go from learning, you have to go, the humans went from learning how magic works. They're apprentices in magic. The elves are teaching the humans for the first time how to use magic. And from there, we now know how to not synthetically enhance magic. They are synthetically enhancing chaos. Just that line alone. I thought the Nilfgaard soldiers yelling Princess Sorella was the stupidest line in this show. It got beat out by synthetically enhancing chaos. I want to ask the writers, how does that work? I would pay $1,000. I would pay $1,000 to ask any of the writers of this stupid ass show, what does it mean to synthetically enhance chaos? And there's no goddamn way any of them have any clue what the hell they're talking about. Zero. Okay? Because that's such a bullshit line that doesn't even make sense. I love you guys. The fact that you guys are fans of the show is just beautiful. It really is. Now we're back at Aretuza, the scene with Istrid and Yennefer, where Yennefer says that they're going to send me home, and Istrid explains that the whole exposition with the elves, and where Yennefer explains how she's, part elf, right? Now, the whole purpose of this scene was to see if Yennefer could control her emotions and get the Fane wood from Istrid. What kind of a bullshit random test is this? You want to know why this test exists? Because the show has already established Yennefer sucks at magic. She's useless at it. She can't even perform the simplest magic. It took her weeks just to learn how to levitate the rock. Okay? The show needed to do this so that you can feel sorry for Yennefer, that you could side with her. So now they have to go, well, crap. She sucks at magic. How are we going to be able to keep her in Aretuza? I know. We'll create some random bullshit test that has absolutely nothing to do with magic at all, so that we can have it so that we're going to use that as the reason why Yennefer can stay and not be turned into an eel in the first place. Why would Istrid even give her the Fane wood in the first place? It's not like we actually see Istrid give it to her, because the show, the writers knew they have no goddamn reason for Istrid to give her the Fane wood. They have no ability to even figure out how to have Yennefer get the Fane wood from Istrid. So to bypass and to hide the fact that these are the most inept writers in the history of television, they just went, yeah, we're just going to skip it and just have it that she has it, because it's not like the writers know how to get it, how to have it so that Yennefer got the Fane wood plant in the first place. Oh man. Then we have the Nilfgaard attacking the refugee camp. Because they want to find Ciri. Their plan is to ransack and kill everyone in the refugee camp in the hopes, in the middle of the night, in the hopes of somehow finding Siri in all this. Like, even if they knew Siri was in this refugee camp, which they don't, okay? How would that plan work? Like, what is this show doing? Like, this plan of action is from the same boneheaded moronic writers that thought the Nilfgaard soldiers yelling Princess Cyrilla was a viable plan of action in capturing the Princess Siri. So then, obviously, burning, ransacking, and killing a Sintra refugee camp in the middle of the night would produce such viable effects. Wait a minute, but later on, they have, I believe it's Fringilla, do that magic to find out where she's going. Well, when does that happen in the timeline? Why wouldn't... So what are you telling me? So according to this show, the Nilfgaard soldiers went looking for Princess Cyrilla in the forest, yelling Princess Cyrilla, ransacked and killed and pillaged the refugee camp, apparently we're inept at being able to find Cyrilla because for some reasons our plans don't seem to work out, then went back to Sintra and then did that, checking out the entrails of that guy that ate the skin of Queen Calanth. Is that what happened? Because the other option is they did that first, found out where Princess Cyrilla was going, but then ended up going through the forest yelling Princess Cyrilla in some random forest and attacked the refugee camp. For what? This. So now we're back at Aretuza and we find that there's a new definition for ascending. It's called turning into an eel. One last thing. It's not that big a deal, but I just thought it was kind of humorous because it's another example of showing how this show and the writers have no goddamn clue what they're doing. It's with Geralt and the Bard, and the Bard talks about how Geralt ended up giving the money to Filavandrel, I think, or Torque or whoever. And it's like, well, wait a minute. The show just established that a witcher, Geralt, took money from a paying customer to kill a monster, ended up not killing the monster, and left. I believe in a future episode, something similar like that happens and causes a bunch of problems. As far as the guy in the town who hired Geralt, as far as he's concerned, a witcher took his money and left town without fulfilling the contract. I only bring this up because it establishes the writers and this show don't know what the hell they're doing. This is important. This actually... Anyway, that's it for me. I gotta quit. Again, there's more, but I want to try and... I don't want to do another hour. Anyway, that's it for me. See you in episode 3.